Hello, everyone. This is Manuel Cubillo here. I'm the Global Vice President of Cloud Services at 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗃𝗀, and I'm very happy to be here to talk about a very relevant topic these days, which is engineering for AI to optimize all of your enterprise solutions. AI is penetrating every organization, and especially for the enterprise, this is top of mind these days. Before we get started, I would like to introduce 𝗦𝗲𝗀. 𝗦𝗲𝗀 is a cloud-first, data-first, AI-first digital engineering company with a global footprint across 17 countries, more than 9,000 people. And we are very happy to collaborate with multiple clients around the different industries and around different countries on digital engineering projects. Before we get into the technical aspects of the topic, I'd like to share some industry perspective of what we're seeing in the industry and with our clients. So AI is having multiple manifestations of impact in organizations. One of them, of course, is how it can really enable automation and efficiency across the board. Many organizations are talking about operational efficiency, freeing up human resources to do more strategic work, and AI is definitely the main approach they are taking towards this goal. Then advanced analytics and decision support, while it has been done for a long time, AI is currently powering analytics processes, processing a lot of data very quickly, getting to deeper insights, and making an impact on user experience and decision making at all levels of the organizations. Cybersecurity, it's another key area, hot topic these days. It's through AI, we are enhancing threat detection, but not only that, it's also enhancing the response capabilities to have a faster response in case of incidents and to improve and be proactive towards cyber attacks in the future. Other specific industries, for example, supply chain or human resources, they are introducing AI to optimize their processes. For example, in the case of supply chain, inventory, logistics, procurement processes are usually very human-driven these days, and AI can really accelerate these processes. And at the same time, when it comes to human resources, for example, recruitment processes can really be accelerated, and actually results can be improved through AI. Finally, in the technical field, product development, not only on the technical space with coding, but in the early stages through R&D, product definition, design generation, and design optimization are some of the key use cases these days about AI. But before we can start thinking about any of these use cases, organizations have to think on how they can enable their AI processes. And there are some key pillars that we would like to review in this session today. When it comes to AI for the enterprise, we can think of AI as a factory. And any factory, of course, has a technical component, but before you get into the technical components, you need to enable your organization to be ready to start implementing anything. So typical enabling factors have to do with organizational structure. Is your organization really ready? Has the proper components, the proper awareness, the proper governance mechanisms to go into AI? This is going to become critical, and I'm going to explain later on this presentation why. People, it's probably the main blocker for organizations to get into real implementation of AI, because they need to be upskilled. Access to skilled people in the AI field is still a challenge for many organizations, but even if they have it, creating the proper culture for AI, it's critical. And of course, any organization has an ecosystem of partners, vendors, and they need to make sure that this ecosystem is well aligned on their vision and on their goals. When this is done as an enabling set of factors, you can start thinking on your technical platform, and cloud becomes a cornerstone here. When it comes to AI, pretty much every workload is running on the cloud. And for proper adoption of AI, you need to consider security as a key factor. There is a lot of information and IP that is going on in terms of AI, and you need to protect that. Compliance is especially important, especially for enterprises, and especially in certain industries like healthcare or financial. And being compliant as they innovate, it's crucial. And then introducing technical aspects like observability, having a FinOps mindset to make sure that any implementation is optimal from a cost perspective and aligned with the financial discipline, it's also key. Then moving up, For any AI initiative, data is the main input. If you don't have the proper data, your AI initiative is going to take you to insights that are maybe not relevant, maybe not as deep or as good as you would like. So when you deal with data, security is paramount. You need to make sure that every set of data that you are putting into your AI workload is properly secured. Data integrity is there. There is a proper way of govern that data set so that just the right set of people has access to it, but they have timely access to that information when they need it. Processing big amounts of information is crucial, and storing that data in an efficient way, it's also crucial. Once you have your cloud infrastructure, once you have your data platform aligned in place with best practices and in good shape, you can start thinking on the business before you get into an actual implementation. And you can think of the business side in two ways. You have to think of the capabilities your business has. For example, do you have a capability, a cluster of possible areas of appliance for AI in customer service or BI and analytics? Within that specific capability, you would have specific use cases. So, for example, real-time summarization of data. Or if you are thinking in customer service, you have support assistants that you want to put in front of your clients. The moment that you understand which capabilities you want to focus on and you identify very specific use cases, you can start thinking on how you would go about AI. And then you start your journey of adoption. Cloud is going to be your main enabler. Adopting the cloud is a journey. It's not necessarily a project. And it all starts with the business case. So as I was mentioning, once that you have that business case, you can define what are going to be your adoption drivers, and you will need to work around those drivers. Create that adoption plan. Make sure that you have the readiness in place from a cloud platform perspective so you can define an operational model that is going to support your multiple architectures. Some architectures are going to be, I would say, traditional, in the sense that for the AI workloads to run, you would need some typical container-based architectures. You will need some data architectures. Everything is going to be geared towards introducing the best practices to enable that AI workload. And of course, security, governance, operational adoption is going to be there so that you can move up in adoption maturity and get ready for your AI adoption. These are some of the typical practices that would be considered when you think of cloud operations or optimal cloud operations for AI. So for example, from setting the objectives, making sure that you identify critical applications, dependencies, all the way to designing a proper workload that considers well-architected frameworks as the foundational practices, introducing resiliency model early on, aligning with your financial discipline will enable you to create this cloud platform that would really be able to scale as you move forward in your AI journey. In the evaluation and test stage, which is critical for any AI workload, you would have things like defining your testing strategies, introducing test automation before you deploy. And after you deploy, you can do disaster recovery testing. You're going to be running critical workloads. You need to make sure you can respond in case of an incident. You will need observability. You will need constant optimization. And of course, in software, there's issues coming up every now and then, so you will need to be ready to respond to those incidents and learn from those incidents so it doesn't happen again. Once you have your cloud piece covered, let's talk about data. You would require an operational data model. And in that model, of course, what you want to accomplish is to empower your organization to leverage data in multiple ways through AI. For that, you would need to work in data maturity. Data maturity is going to be key. And for data maturity, you need to consider data quality. In data, if garbage goes in, garbage is going to go out. So you need to have a proper strategy for data quality. You need to introduce automation for your data lifecycle. And once that you have that, you would be creating a platform that is going to democratize data. This is a key concept because you want to make sure that your data is coming from all the multiple sources that you have, but also getting to all the right parts of the organization that need to leverage that data. You will need to put in place a data ops and AI ops structure, which considers automation first as an approach. And you need to take a mindset of everything as code so that you can scale over time. The moment that you have that, you can really start thinking on innovation. You can really start having this AI mindset of how do I apply my AI expertise, leveraging the data that I have on my cloud platform to really make a difference. Typically, you would have multiple data sources. Those data sources are going to be ingested in multiple ways, in multiple formats, and the challenge here is to make them available to the organization, ensuring quality, ensuring security, and ensuring that they can be accessed timely. This is a typical data architecture on Azure. And the key factor here, more than services, of course, data factory, SQL databases, data lakes are going to be there. But the key is that you are going to centralize your data in such a way that you can feed the multiple workloads in your organization, and those workloads are going to impact the user experiences. But the key aspect to take away with is all those workloads are going to feed information back to your data set. So it can be enriched over time, so it can be improved over time. So after a few iterations, you would have better insights, better defined AI workloads, and the impact that you're going to get and the ROI is going to be much, much bigger. Finally, you get into the actual AI framework. And one key aspect here is this framework not only considers technical aspects. In 𝗦𝗲𝗀, we consider that you have to really start by upskilling your people. You need to make sure that you have access to talent. Sometimes that means hiring, sometimes that means upskilling. That is the key inhibitor right now for many organizations to get into AI adoption. The moment you work that out, you can start thinking on how you are going to use those skills to actually enable ROI. So it's investing into AI, defining specific use cases towards impacting the business. The more that you apply that, you're going to start changing your organization, and you will need to do some change management to define a clear strategic AI roadmap for adoption. And data is going to be your key differentiator. No matter how good you are implementing AI workloads, if you don't have a proper data strategy, the insights and the value that you are going to get out of those is not going to be as good as if you have a proper data implementation. You will be moving towards a maturity model here. So starting from awareness, making sure your organization really understand how AI can make an impact, how they should be responsible using AI, what are the challenges, but also what are the potentials of AI. You're going to move into an active stage where you are going to start adopting workloads. Those workloads are going to get operational in production. And when you get there, the key challenge is governance. Many organizations are moving faster towards this third level of maturity. And as they adopt more and as tools become more easier to access for the organization, they're going to be moving into a systemic approach and a transformational stage where they can really make a broader impact in their organizations. Finally, in order for you to move forward, you need to consider key aspects. The three core pillars are the culture in your organization, how that strategy responds to the culture that you have, and how technology enables that. So in an early stage, training, upskilling is critical. Defining that strategy and policies on how you are going to leverage AI is going to be key, so you can enable the workloads through cloud, data, and of course the AI engineering. As you deploy things in production, you start deploying those use cases, you're going to start to think about regulation, compliance, governance, and that is what's going to enable you to do operation and engineering at scale, and start really getting the ROI in your implementation. Now, as takeaways, some key messages. AI is not only about technology. Having a holistic vision for adoption, understanding how your organization really needs to leverage AI, where you can make an impact, is key. User experience is the key factor here. For you to get ROI and for the business to really make an impact, they need to identify the right use cases. They need to worry about the KPIs they're going to use to measure that, because again, it's not only about the technical piece. And building a culture around that strategy is as important as any technology choice. So make sure that you have clear vision on where you want to go and how your culture is going to support that. Finally, in order for you to justify your investments, of course, you need ROI. So make sure that you have critical success factors identified early on and make sure those are aligned with your organization. And last but not least, data is paramount here. As long as you have proper data quality, a proper data platform to enable your AI workloads, and that comes together with a proper cloud platform to support your data initiatives, you will be on the right path for success in AI. Hopefully this has been a helpful session. Hopefully the takeaways are useful for you to take it to your organization and start implementing. We will be very happy to meet you in booth 405. Looking forward to greeting you and keep discussing about AI. Thank you so much.